Scope, a podcast with two guys in their 20s, giving their respect from the games that we love, headlines of pop culture, and the mean mind it all. I'm your host, Swizz Burns, my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Another podcast getting ready to do.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Okay, just making sure. Oh, my bad, because it seemed like it was lagging. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good, man. But we have a lot of topics to get into today, as usual. Obviously, some NBA playoff topics. Aaron Rodgers headed to the Jets. Also, the Tank and Ryan Garcia fight was a major topic over the weekend, and we're definitely going to get into that. And in the second half, we're going to do a review of Snowfall's last season. To start off with just thoughts on the Heat series win and Jimmy Butler's phenomenal performances in the Bucks series. Miami won 128-126 in overtime in Milwaukee, and is one of the few 8 seeds to ever upset a 1 seed. Butler scored 42 points, and this was their second straight stunning fourth quarter rally. But what are your thoughts on a series that, I mean, from the jump, it was one that we could tell was going to be a little different just because of the Giannis injury, but also people were not expecting that he get to just run away with the series and even close it out on the road. So how do you feel about the series? And also just like, you know, kind of the breakdown in communication for the Bucks, because their offense just was really stagnant the last 10 minutes and didn't even get a shot off in the last play of overtime.
Yeah. Man, I did not think this was going to happen. We talked about this last week. I said the Giannis effect was going to kick in. He's just a guy that's going to take over the game. It showed like that when the first game he came back. It showed that he was just getting back in the groove and that these guys will not have an answer. But we've seen this Jimmy Butler before, man. Obviously, he's the difference maker. He's the deciding factor. The bubble Jimmy. He just came up short. Jimmy Butler gave his all. And I think that's where we're starting to believe and love more about Jimmy Butler every single time he gets on the court. He's going to give his all. He's going to give every ounce he has to the basketball team and to his teammates. So I think that's the difference. But looking at the Miami Heat, I didn't think they were going to do that because, one, Bam has not played like he has played the last couple of years. His rebounding has decreased. His point scoring has decreased. The 1-2 game that we love so much, him finishing at the rim, has decreased. So I thought that Jimmy Butler, even though he's going to go off, he's going to get his numbers, that they weren't going to have enough to stop Giannis. And now I'm wrong.
I love that part.
It's Giannis had 38 points in the last game. And just that whole sequence in itself, it had no sense of urgency. Giannis, when the play that you mentioned earlier, them not even getting a shot off, no sense of urgency, grabbed the rebound, dropped it off, drove through it back. The other guy drove through it back. And then by the time he tried to give up a shot, it was over with. They didn't look like they want to win. They didn't look like they have a sense of urgency right there. And I think there's a lot of things that you can't do when it comes to being in the playoffs and going on a playoff run is not have a sense of urgency. And we talked about Russell Westbrook's like rhythm or his pace. They needed that Russell Westbrook rhythm and pace right there, a sense of urgency. That's how Russell Westbrook plays. Like he has a gun to the back of the head. They say, "Hey, run really fast, and you better score." like he's getting threatened for his life every time he's on the court. They didn't have that. And man, hats off to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler really put the team on his back, and we see what happens.
And I mean, it's astounding what's developed and taken place, because there was also this notion that Miami was just like underachieving and that they needed to like change what they wanted to do for next offseason. There were questions about like, hey, is this core team going to stay the same? Is this going to be the same unit? Like, do you feel as though, and obviously when it's an 8 seed, you're naturally going to like not give them as much credit, but do you think there was a little bit of just like the Heat being overlooked and maybe like not looking at the track record of this is a team that they're always coached well, they always play together, and like Jimmy Butler said, give us any series and we feel as though we're confident enough to maybe, you know, not be the favorite, but to be competitive in it.
I'll give him that. Being competitive, sure, but being the favorite to beat Milwaukee, and I mean, obviously, who is this calling me? Somebody's calling me out the blue, man. The feds, man. But no, I lost my train of thought because my phone kept. They've called me one time, they called me back. And I don't know the number, it's not safe. But Competitive, yes. We know Jimmy Butler's a competitor. They got a veteran, Kevin Love. Kyle Lowry has been on the side, and we talked about Bam being on the side, and Hero's been out, and those guys, and they depend on him for the 3-point shot, right, and finishing at the rim. And when we saw this Jimmy Butler before, so I'm thinking, okay, Jimmy Butler's going to get his numbers. We saw this.
Thursday.
Hold on, bro.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Yeah, this is Savon. Yeah. Doing pretty good. No, I'm actually doing a podcast. What's this about? Free stuff? Yeah, I'm actually live right now looking at my calls. We stream on Zencaster, but yeah, let me give you a call back after the podcast. I'm not sure. We started a little late. I'll probably give you a call afterwards. All right.
And we're back.
Call me 3. Sorry, let me. Sorry about this, man. Whew. Sorry about that. That just made me mad because my girlfriend gets he's life insurance guy or something, and I don't already have life insurance or have all that stuff. He called me. That's annoying. You call somebody 3 times back to back at 7:29.
That's wild. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that pissed me off. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Well, how you want to jump back in, bro?
But looking ahead for Miami, obviously they're going to be playing the Knicks. We're going to be talking about them and their win against Cleveland. How do you foresee? Because I feel like that's going to be a very physical series. Both teams are physical in nature, and Jalen Brunson, we're seeing what he's doing so far early on. The guard play is going to be key in that series. Like, we've seen a history of Heat Knicks series even back in the 90s. Some of the biggest brawls that we've ever seen. So much history between those two teams.
Yes.
But how do you kind of foresee your early expectations for even that series?
Yes, man, I didn't think this was going to get out that series, and I know we're going to talk about that a little later. But I think it's going to be interesting. We're gonna see if Jimmy Butler can continue this streak and to continue this high play. First round is always, especially the AFC, is going to be strenuous. You got to give it your all. You're the underdog, but the second round of the playoffs, spotlight's on you. You're playing a team that's confident. They just beat a Cavs team that were looking at the favorite, especially for me. I thought Garland was going to continue that pace, and then Donovan Mitchell, and So this is gonna be it's gonna be an interesting series for sure. And it's gonna be interesting. I'm going to see how they're going to play. Will Bam step up? Will Kevin Love get streaky at certain points of the games, because they're going to need them? And then Kyle Lowry, like, their bench have to play more, because I know Jimmy Butler cannot keep this up for 2 series back to back.
Yeah, there's going to be an eventual runoff, eventual cutoff at this. Like, this is unsustainable. You know what I mean? Like what we're seeing, like, it's unsustainable. Like he's obviously the most impressive playoff performer we have so far this year, but to actually carry this series after series is going to get draining.
It's going to get draining, and you're going to need bench points. You need guys coming off the bench and scoring. And man, listen, man, Jimmy Butler cannot do this by himself because they're going against a team that's very confident going into this series. So, and this has the ability to go to a 6-7 games, 6 to 7 games in a series. So you're going to have to be, man, no, there's no way he's going to do it. I don't believe. I don't believe.
And now getting to the Warriors' road win in game 5 versus Sacramento, them being up 3-2 now. It's Golden State's first road win this playoffs, and it was 123-116. Steph had 31 points, and Draymond also had his highest scoring game in more than 5 years. But this is obviously the type of the notion and the storyline we've been talking about Golden State all season is, can they win on the road? Can they get it done on the road? And this was one of those type of games. I feel as though it was one of their most complete playoff performances so far. Obviously, Draymond was knocking down shots. Jordan Poole was making smart decisions. Andrew Wiggins. It was just like a total team effort. Everything was clicking. It looked like a traditional Golden State road win. What are your thoughts on this game for them, and also them heading back home with the chance to close it out?
Kings are missing, or they're missing the window. So they should have took game 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, not game 1, 2, 3. They should be the ones had 3 games, because eventually they're going to settle down. The Warriors are going to settle down and remember who they are. They are the defending champs. Too much time to figure out and get a groove going. Draymond's back, and he's contributing more than just being a field general and a guy who's going to be a defensive person. He's knocking down shots like he did, 15, 16, 17. Like he's been... That Draymond, that stench of Draymond, he was knocking down shots. They leave him open. He was knocking down threes. And now you got to come to him. Now he's dishing it out. Now he's being what he really is, a field general and a defensive presence. So they have waited too long. And then Barnes is upset with him. It's just giving more fuel.
Can't give them more fuel, especially Draymond. You can't give Draymond more fuel as well.
He doesn't need much.
Because what?
Say you don't like ketchup on your hot dog, it's over with.
Like he said something about like Harrison Barnes invited all the other Warriors to his wedding, but that's like
but
Draymond
Barnes,
doesn't forget about anything.
That, bro. And then Richard Jefferson is talking about, I even got an invite.
That's hilarious.
That's crazy. So they're missing their window, and De'Aaron Fox got hurt. He's not fully healthy. They're missing that window because we didn't think the Kings were going to be the number 3 seed coming into this year. You're missing your window from the defending champs. You have to win, force game 7. If you don't come out guns blazing the first 2 quarters, it's over with. And they're home.
I'm sorry. Like I think they're going to, like, whenever a team goes back to Golden, it's just like, like there should be a case study on like the type of home season they're having. It's like one of the greatest home records. It's like, what's the difference between home and road for this team? They literally just cannot miss at home. I've just never seen. I like the 85 Celtics. The 85 Celtics were 40-1 at home. Like, I think Golden State's only lost 3 games at home the entire. They're like an historically great home. It's wild.
No, everything you're saying is spot on. Case study. They do need to do a case study. A documentary.
What
just
was
home
different
games.
from
just
home?
Games.
Talking that deep. Oh man! And now getting to obviously we're mentioning the Knicks advancing past the Cavs and getting ready for Miami. They're able to win 106-95. Jalen Brunson scored 23 points, and RJ Barrett added 21. And New York really just showed their toughness and depth overall in this series. Yeah. They had all the answers. Jalen Brunson, to me, he's becoming one of the most just entertaining players to watch. Like he's a gamer. Like he just always steps up in a way that he goes after it. And now can he keep it up against Miami? That's the same thing we're saying about Jimmy Butler. Can he keep it up against New York?
Yeah,
it's going to be the interesting contrast. But what were your thoughts on this series? Because we both really liked Cleveland this year. Had high expectations for them, but things just didn't click for them.
I would say in the playoffs, not this year. Because we talked about that Donovan Mitchell trade, and I was like, what they expect him to do? That was Cavs always do any and everything just to get one guy. It's cool. And they get out the first round of playoffs, but it's whatever. I still stick to what I said about Jalen Brunson. I don't think he's ready to be the number one guy. I still think that. I think it was more so a collaboration between Barrett, Robinson with the rebounding and out rebounding two guys in one. And I think that was Allen and Mobley. He out rebounded two guys the whole series. Second chance points, I think, is a collaboration of, obviously, it's a team sport, so it's a collaboration. I don't think Jalen Brunson has stood out to me. And if he's going to be that guy, and I've seen a lot of press saying that, oh, he's the second blunder of the Dallas Mavericks, just like they let Steve Nash get away. I don't think so. I don't think this is a blunder. He hasn't shown me personally that he's a number one guy and that he can carry a team.
You still got to see more.
I think I still got to see more, man. And then you're playing against a battered Cavaliers team who has two guys, really, in my eyes. And Garland, who had a phenomenal, I think, game 2, went out, and then we didn't see him for the rest of the series. So I think there is a bunch of young guys on Cavaliers, and Donovan Mitchell is not a savior. We know that. Every time he gets to the playoffs, he doesn't give enough. He's not Jimmy Butler or a LeBron James or KD or those guys who step up in the big time in the games, and I haven't seen it from him. So he still hasn't given me enough to say, hey, Jalen Brunson is the number one guy, because RJ Barrett had a phenomenal game. Phenomenal game. Both front court and back court. So I think going into the series, he'll have to really give indication that he separated himself from the rest of his teammates. Now, I think his teammates think that, and I know I'm going over a little bit. I think his teammates think that because game 2, he shot majority of the shots. He shoots majority of the shots. But I don't think just because you shoot majority of the shots, I don't think you're number one guy. He hasn't led his team. He's not a full field general just yet. He's not a full-on press on defense just yet. He's not prolific in the 1-2 game. It's a lot of things in his game that's missing, because last year he wasn't a guy. He was like a supporting cast. So it's just, he hasn't shown me enough to be saying, okay, is he fun to watch? Maybe. Acrobatic, short guy, stubby, all the characteristics you don't see that's really decent in the NBA. But being fun to watch is different from actually winning championships and bringing some light back to the Knicks, who have an illustrious organization over the years back in the day. So yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting series.
It is. It's a show me series. It's a show me series. A lot of players have things to prove, and especially we got to see more from Bam Adebayo. And that's another player. I feel as though he can actually be the one who relieves pressure off of Butler if Bam locks back in. If Bam locks back into his zone, he actually can be the one who can relieve pressure from Jimmy Butler and really take off that that extra load that he's carrying. And now getting to the Grizzlies, Game 5 home win against the Lakers, and thoughts on if LA can close it back home. Memphis won 116-99, staving off elimination. Desmond Bane had 33 points and 10 rebounds. John Moran added 31 points. And this has been an interesting series because, the Lakers, they had 2 impressive back-to-back home wins. Memphis really needed, obviously, a must-win situation for them back at home. Like, how do you feel about this series? What we're seeing, LeBron has obviously been phenomenal. That Game 4 performance in overtime was a very impressive performance. But what are your thoughts on this series heading back to LA in Game 6 and what the Lakers need to do to close this out to advance?
I mean, I think LeBron said it himself. He played terrible because we still haven't seen the guys we talked about last week, Anthony Davis being one. He had a good game. I'm not saying he didn't have a good game, but I think when LeBron James doesn't play well for this team, they're not going to do well. They're not going to win because AD I think is limited in his abilities right now. And then we have this phenomenon with Austin Reeves. He's not full on. He reminds me of Jalen Brunson. Like that game, he's still a supporting cast guy. He's not a guy who can just take over games. Their bench is amazing. The bench is amazing, but D'Angelo Russell is another one that hasn't paid. Another guy we talked about who's not contributing. He should not be in the starting lineup. Just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
I don't understand, but I feel like LeBron is getting gas. See that? That was the buzzer beater. I don't know if you heard that or not. Perfect time I meant to do that. But I think he got gas, or he got gas, and he was giving the guys the opportunity to, hey, bro, I need you. Like I gave y'all everything these first three, 4 games. Man, I got to take a break. But I foresee LeBron James taking this over and they're winning 4-2. In LA, take a breather, get ready for the second round. Yeah.
Or Sacramento.
Get ready because they're going to
need. It'll be going insane. I know.
They're going to need everything
for the case study warrior. That's what I'm gonna call him now. The case study. I got it. The case study.
The case study warriors. That's amazing. That's dope.
Oh man.
The case study warriors. Oh my gosh. Well, let's say when you're on your own, brother. Man,
I can't be stopped. And now transitioning to the Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia fight. Tank had a seventh round win. And stopped Garcia with the body punch, and with that single left hand, he cemented himself as obviously one of boxing's pound for pound best fighters, if not one of the sport's singular biggest stars in the 136-pound catchweight fight. And we talked about this a lot in terms of the buildup of it, how we were favoring Tank, and he was able to deliver. Started off a little slow, had that second round knockdown for Garcia. What did you think about this fight? How it played out, and just also maybe what's next for Tank down the line?
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Just giving Tank's IQ is so high. How he sets up his punches, and he's willing to get into the fire to set those punches up. If you really I saw a video slow it down. He went in the crossfire twice to set up that left hook because Westcom's right arm kept dropping every time he throw his mega left hook. And it was just perfect timing. That's boxing IQ. That's a high IQ guy who understands his opponent, what he has to do. You have to get in the fire to test that Westcom. And then I think Ryan was so saw out to yo, I'm going to knock him out with this left hook. I have to knock him out. But he just got outboxed. And I will give Ryan this. He recovered really fast. And then for those next 4 rounds, I won't say 5 because obviously 7th round he got hit with the liver shot. But the next 4 rounds he adjusted and he didn't do the same thing because a lot of boxers wouldn't have caught what just happened to him. I dropped my right arm, freak. But he caught that but man, Gervonta is just a different type of boxer. His IQ, his skill set is different from Ryan. And then a lot of people talking about, the clauses in the contract. He couldn't do this and that. He looked pale. Come on, bro.
We don't want to hear that.
Move. I had a leak in my camp. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, the mold.
Because, the mold, the information, you still have to implement that information. Just because you got information, you still have to do something about it. And I think that was a weak spot because all your videos show you when you throw your left hook, your right arm is always down. And it did it again. He just hit you with a left hook on the body. Bro, there's this simple mathematics when it comes to boxing, especially when it comes to Gervonta. But I knew that exactly what was going to happen. I didn't know what round. I knew it was probably 7th, 8th. But man, Gervonta is just a different beat. And the only boxing match that makes sense is Haney. It's Devin.
I think so.
That's the only boxing match that makes sense.
Other people have thrown out Shakur Stevenson as well. But I don't think he's ready for Tank.
I think for the sport of boxing, I think Haney makes sense.
Yeah.
Because obviously they have history. They sparred before. There's always stories circulating because boxing is, and
it will be another moment.
This
it will
for
be another
boxing.
Moment fight.
Yes, and they need to capitalize it because these heavyweights hasn't fought in a while. Because Fury has knocked out or beat everybody, so there's no big time fights. So, but they have to be aware not to run out of their big fights because there's no other boxer that's doing what Tank is doing right now besides Haney. So I think that will make sense.
He's got to fight in May against Lomachenko, so that's going to be a very, very important fight.
Yeah. So I think that's the only thing that makes sense, bro. Just given the history, just that not box office, but pay-per-view is going to go crazy. Marketing is going to go crazy because, this is real fight. We got referees. This is not no sparring. You don't got no hair gear on. This is the real deal. Who is better? And I think that'll be the best match going forward for the sport of boxing.
Absolutely. That would be a really good fight. That would be a really good
crazy
fight.
and I think they match up well. I don't know what happened. They say this and that he touched him and he almost knocked him out when he had headgear on. I don't know, but I think they match up well because I think Devin's IQ is really high, and I think he has that knockout power and that ability to adapt to his opponent. So I think they match up real well. Ooh, that'll be a good one.
And now transitioning to the NFL with obviously the major news of the week, Aaron Rodgers heading to the Jets, and also initial thoughts on this move. Green Bay agreed on Monday to deal Rodgers in their 2023 first round pick and a 2023 fifth round pick to the Jets for New York's 2023 first round pick, a 2023 sixth round pick, and a conditional 2024 second round pick. This is obviously one of the biggest trades in the Jets' history, and for years they've been kind of frustrated by inferior quarterback play. What are your thoughts on this move? Because, this is one that for months, we've been hearing about Rodgers to the Jets. That was something that was just eventually down the pipeline. And this is a team that has a really, had a top seeded, one of the top seeded defenses last year. And now you're adding a Hall of Fame level quarterback in Rodgers, who obviously has declined in some aspects, but it's still,
yes,
you're always going to accept a quarterback like that into your team. What are your initial takeaways just on this trade and just what it means for the Jets and the Packers' future?
I think Aaron Rodgers still has something left in the juices, left in that body. I just looking at his numbers last year: 12 interceptions, 60% percentage of completion. I think his passer rating was 91. I think that's one of the lowest he's ever had. But I think the longest pass he had last year was 58, so it still has some juice in the arm. He still can get it down. They have, Garrett Wilson, a big-time wide receiver who can go get it. He take the top off. So I think he still have the ability to, throw those passes. And they're going to get a leader. They haven't had a true leader in a long time. All these guys, Wilson, they had Flacco at one point. They had Sam Darnold, these younger guys, and obviously Joe Flacco is an older veteran guy, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. And they'll give that veteran presence who has Super Bowl experience, who has that playoff experience, only missed the playoffs a couple times. Last year was the first time in a long time Packers have missed the playoffs. But I think they'll get a guy that still has some love for the game. I think it's going to be like that that Brett Favre-ness that he retired, then he came back and he went on incredible runs with the Jets and the Vikings. Literally went to the team that Brett Favre.
Are you trying to copy Brett?
That's just clicked to me. I think that situation made more sense for him because obviously the Jets owner loves quarterbacks from the Packers. It only got two. It was two for the past 20 years. So I think they have some great weapons, and I think they'll get some more weapons for Aaron Rodgers in the draft, and they'll capitalize on the defense. I think they're good hands. I think they were they were last in the AFC East, and I think their record was measly. But I think what changed is they were 25th in offense, averaging 99 yards rushing, and they were 14th in passing. That changes. They'll go to top 10 in all those aspects because Aaron Rodgers is going to bring a different defensive scheme that any of those quarterbacks can bring and help the offense. So they'll go top 10. I foresee that. And going with the Green Bay Packers, I feel like I'm long-winded, Wellington. Tell me to shut up if you need to. I think we're in good hands. I think Jordan Love has the ability.
It's time to move on. You felt as though it was time to move on.
Yes, it's time.
And they decided that.
Yeah, it's time. I think there's not a new sheriff; it's a new deputy in town, right? Because he still has some learning to do. But I think he's getting acclimated. I think that the game has slowed down a little bit, being able to step in when Aaron Rodgers, were hurt. But I think he has the ability to lead this team, and I think everybody is starting to wrap around him. And I think we'll get another tight end in the draft. We'll get another wide receiver, big time wide receiver, coming out the draft to help him with that. And then the running game will still be there with Aaron Jones and Aaron Dillon, AJ Dillon. Oh my gosh, AJ Dillon. I forgot my name of the team. But I think, and then our defense will have to help because our defense last year was terrible. We need another safety. I think we need another defensive tackle. I think the middle is good. We got some great guys last year. But I think both teams are going to. They were 7-10 last year, the Jets, but I think we were 8-9. I think we'll be fine. I think Jordan Love will need time just to get acclimated, and I think the fans understand that. So he has 2 years to get his stuff ready. Because that's how many years we gave Aaron.
Same timeline.
We gave Aaron 2 years, and then same timeline. It's the same thing because Brett Favre, when he got in, he gave him everybody gave him 2 years, and he started winning, won a Super Bowl, and and started going off. And Aaron Rodgers did the same thing. So I think Jordan Love has the same capacity to be able to do just what his predecessors have done.
Definitely. And before we move on to the NFL draft, there were a couple other playoff matchups. The Suns, they get past the Clippers. Boston, they blew a lead to Atlanta. Now that series is 3-2, and obviously the Nuggets, they're going to be matched up with Phoenix. Are there any other matchups in the second round you're intrigued by, or any current developments? Obviously, with what happened with the Clippers and Suns and Kawhi's injury, that stands out to you.
No, I'm looking forward to that Phoenix and Nuggets. It's going to be interesting. And I think Phoenix has the upper hand just given they have like a four-head monster there. But I think Nuggets play great basketball, fundamental basketball. And then Jokic, which make up for the lack of talent that they don't have. And I think talent-wise, we know Phoenix has the most talent. But for a cohesive basketball team, we used to say it was the Phoenix Suns, but now you got these four-head monsters. I think the Nuggets have that advantage when it comes to them going head-to-head. But, man, it's going to be interesting. Talent versus teamwork. Who wins?
That is going to be a good series, man. That's going to be a good series.
Extremely. Yeah. That's going to at least game 6-7, bro. Unless Phoenix can go crazy.
That's true. Because we're seeing Booker just emerge and really really explode for it. It could be a Booker Murray one-on-one back and forth. It could be. We never know. But Katie's going to have something to say. Katie was like, it's not just going to be you two.
Yes. No. Because I think Booker is getting off because of KD.
He's giving him those chances.
Because we've seen him because last year we seen that and I'm like, yo, why is Devin not going crazy right now, bro? You got to be the guy. We talked about you got to be the guy. But sometimes you need the real guy to come on the team so you can be the extra guy.
Absolutely. And now transitioning to the NFL draft, and obviously the number one pick, Bryce Young heading to Carolina. That was one that everybody was expecting. But also looking at other, instant game changers that could possibly be there. I think Will Anderson Jr. is a player that really stands out to me because, he produced a really good 3-year career, as we've seen from a defensive lineman, just very explosive at his position. To you, in terms of, because I already know there's updates about certain players that have been selected, but to you, what are the players that you're looking from this draft that you think could stand out and be those instant game changers? And also, how do you view Bryce Young being the number one quarterback? The size and the height variant has been mentioned a lot in terms of just that being a hurdle and how he can get over that in his first year.
Yo, that's crazy, man. Texas is going crazy, and I'm going to answer all those in one. They got CJ Stroud, then they traded up to get Anderson.
Wow.
Yes, they're going crazy right now. Anthony Richardson went to the Colts. Anthony Richardson got drafted by the Colts, which I still think the amount of potential, yes, but him to take them that early, I just didn't believe with it. Witherspoon went to the Seahawks. Bryce Young, I think out of all the quarterbacks, shows that he's a leader and that he can face adversity. He's one of those guys who can just improvise. And sometimes that's bad, but in this case, his improvisation. Improvisation is insane when it comes to him because he checks boxes. And then you think because he's a dual threat, he has that improvisation. No, that doesn't, you can't teach that. That's just something he has. It's like backyard bullcrap or just playing in the sandlot, But I think he checks so many boxes. I think he's the full overall. I know he's short, 5'10", 5'11", but I think we've seen quarterbacks that, came before him, like Russell Wilson, show that his height is not going to be a negative factor for what he can do on the football field. We see what he did at Alabama, and him going to that tour. I think their offensive line is going to treat him like gold. I think that he's in good hands. So Bryce Young is definitely the overall best quarterback in this draft. And just looking at the guy, I think who can make an impact. Mr. Geez, what's his name? Bijan.
Oh, which
get behind me.
Say get behind me.
You can't, hey man, you had a good one, so I had to come back with one, man. But him, I think he could be a difference maker because he's overall, like, he checks those boxes, passing. He's great out the backfield with the passing, pass blocking, running between the tackles, doing stretch plays, can go in any type of offense. I think he could be that guy. I think he's going to go in the first round, but I think he's got be the guy who would come in and start on any football team. And he has that ability. We see what the different styles we've shown with Texas. The only downside I do see from him, and I did say this was a plus, but obviously you could be a good pass blocker and still have some things that you need to tweak. His alertness when it comes to picking up blocks, picking up blitzes, picking up big guys. I think that's something that he needs to work on. But that comes with the territory because the speed of the NFL is totally different from college. So he's going to have to get acclimated really fast, but I think he can. Another guy I think is going to be really, 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 really good is Devin Witherspoon. Obviously, Witherspoon is a home native, but his style of play is so not in this game because he's a short stature, 5'10", 5'11" guy, super strong, about 200 pounds, benches out of the world, but he's super fast, instinctive, very aggressive. We don't see that type of play in a 5'10", 5'11" guy. You see Jalen Ramsey, he's in the sixes. He's more aggressive because he has that length. Devon doesn't really have that length, but he makes it up with his speed closing in, his IQ. I think Devin is that guy who can start right away. You could put him in the nickel. You could put him at corner. You could put him at safety. I think he could play any type of defense, 3-4, 4-3. It doesn't matter. He's that. He has that versatility come on the outside. So, man, Devin is going to make an immediate impact for any team he goes to. First round guy,
definitely, man. It really packed draft in terms of some of the instant game changers. Now transitioning to our first album review with Musiq Soulchild, Hit Boys, Victims, and Villains. And this album had only 10 tracks. It's a very fun, breezy listen and doesn't overstay its welcome. Music sounds rejuvenated and it contemplates the highs and lows of life. And earlier back in March, man, this was one of those. This was one of those albums I constantly went back to because it's honestly one of my favorites of the year. It really is, and I think the production and just the song structure is so good. You want to keep listening, and I feel as though this is a really just smooth listen. But to you, what are your initial thoughts on it and just the collab between Musiq Soulchild and Hit Boy?
He's back, man. And we talked about Hit Boy being in like top 5, top 10 of producers. And just, I mean, Musiq Soulchild is just effortless. His voice, he's unique. The beats, his willingness to adapt to this style of R&B, but still give us the DNA of the older 90s R&B and 2000s, a little bit of R&B. So, man, what album? First and foremost, banger, and it was, bro.
Concise.
We agree. We like it. Nah, yeah, it was really dope. White Rice, Deja Vu.
Oh my goodness, man.
Bro, these names really got me, bro.
The titles, bro.
Your Love Is Life. What is that, bro? What a title for a song. Your Love Is Life.
Love? Is it Lies? Bro,
it's a lot of creativity that went into this and thought that went into this album.
The binging song, we were just binging. We weren't really loving. That's so cold. That's so cold. You gotta actually have gone through certain relations.
Man, what? Yo, that's insane, bro. But I think to be able to push through and not be seen as an old head, you had to come correct, and he did so. He did so, because, man, this definitely got saved, first and foremost. I didn't skip a song.
No skips.
This is another one.
No skips.
And if you skip a 10-song album, something wrong with you. You're just psychotic. You're just impatient. Just listen, man. What is he doing?
That is hilarious. Skipping a 10.
That's insane, bro. I see like a 22, 18, 17, but 10 songs, bro, you confrontational. That's what you are. You just confrontational.
And the crazy thing that you mentioned, Musiq Soulchild adapting to this generation's sound as well. Like, what do you think that says about him? Because certain artists, they won't, they're hesitant to do that. Not that they won't. It won't just be an instant thing for him, but it really seemed like he was just like instantly really wanted to adapt and really take his time to listen to, okay, I'm going to bring my core sound, but I'm also going to adapt to what's the current sound wave.
And I think, and I just correlate these guys together. Lil Wayne said the same thing. He was like, man, I embrace the new sound of rap and adapt to it because that's what you have to do. That's the way of times. Times are changing. And for Musiq Soulchild, and he is ears into the ground. He's still on social media. I think somebody tagged him into, I think it was a girl athlete from FAMU singing one of his songs. He was like, man, step approval. You sound really well. So and we look at Plies has stayed around because of social media. So I think Musiq Soulchild being on social media and being aware of different patterns that comes to music, it helps out when you want to put out music yourself. And then that gives you the credibility with the new sound age of listeners to be like, oh, Musiq Soulchild, oh, this is what y'all was talking about. But you're expecting old school, but he gave you something you've been listening to for the past couple of months. So for him to be able to do that, it's just being strategic and understanding and being aware of where music is going, because R&B is not true R&B right now. There's some artists that trying to stick to it, but it's not true R&B. So you got to adapt to what's going on and what's hot.
And he did.
That's the lay of the land.
He did.
He definitely did.
Absolutely. And after listening to Swizz Beats Hip Hop 50 Volume 2, in this new EP, Swizz Beats takes a meticulous approach to the creation of the album. The EP is being promoted as a grand love letter to New York's hip hop culture. Esteemed veterans and current stars are alike contribute to this, and Swizz's signature Frenzy production stands out the most. But what were your thoughts on this EP and some of the collaborators he brought on it?
What's Swizz's other name that he goes by?
Oh man,
is his call sign or his drop?
Just Blaze.
Yeah. Is that him too?
I think so. I think that's his. That's his.
How do you go by two?
Wait,
how do you go by two people? Because I was like, Swizz Beats is just what's called. He just say Just Blaze all the time. And Just Blaze is okay. But this was fire. Obviously, you got Lil Wayne, Nas starting it off. You got
perfect way to start.
One of the greatest rappers
we
of
love
all
Nas
time.
On this podcast. We love Nas. I mean, he keeps doing it,
bro. He's the lead. He's the lead guy. Come on, bro.
That's a different flex. That's a different level of flex.
That's a different. And then you got Jadakiss. You got Benny, bro. You got Wayne.
And you even if I know you're critical of Benny at times, but you got to admit Benny fit on the track.
Oh, so well, so well. I was like an excited stepfather. I'm telling you, man.
Excited stepfather is what.
And then you got a Boogie, bro. A Boogie, man. A Boogie so slept on, man, and his music is so slept on. So he had a lot of contrasting sounds and personalities on this album that really worked. I don't even call this an album. Oh, it wasn't an album. It's an EP. Tripping. I was about to say, I was like, this is not an album.
Swizz is gonna name it right. Swizz is gonna name it right.
Swizz, yeah, bro. This is fire, bro.
I liked it.
This is fire. And again, if you skip an EP, you're psychotic. Why is my mom calling me? Come on, Ma. I'm not answering that.
What you got? You declined because you're recording a podcast. I don't care.
I'll call you back on break, girl. You don't want that anyway. Talk my ear off.
But in terms of it, and I know there were so many just impressive collaborators. To me, like the Nas track, that's my favorite one overall. Is there one particular a collaborator that you said had the most impressive performance overall to you?
Wayne, man. Slowly but surely, Wayne is creeping up in my top 5. I think he's one of the greatest rappers of all time, but he's not in my top 5. But he's creeping. Yeah. He's, hey, what about no? Knocking on the door. Hey, man. Now, that whole song was fire, bro. Wayne
Wayne
is
and
just
Swizz
different,
Beats
bro.
together,
Wayne
that's
is
just a combination that does not miss. My goodness, bro.
And he's still doing it after like 30, 40 years. He's been doing it since he was like 12, bro.
Wayne has never stopped. His output is just like, we got, and there's so many people we mentioned. You got to put him up in that like goated category of just people who just never stop putting out music. Like there are like mixtapes that he used to put out mixtapes like almost like every other week, every other month. Like he just had a crazy run that everybody just had to respect.
Man, it's to be doing it at this. Like, we talked about 10 years, a decade with Kendrick and Drake and Jake. Bro, this man has been doing
been a lot.
Bro, I don't even know how old he is, to be honest with you. I don't even know how old Wayne is. But he's
40.
been doing it for like 20 plus years, bro. And has not declined.
You know what's so goated about him? The fact that he's on this run and also passed the baton to also another guy we could say is the like, that's wild. You're on your run and you gave this Drake guy. Oh yeah, I'm gonna give him the baton.
Bro, and that's what's crazy about that too. He gave, and her voice gets on my nerves now, but I used to be a heavy Nicki. She is the greatest female rapper of all time. What she's done in the game is no one has came close. Unmatched. She's annoying, and her voice is annoying.
You got to give her respect.
It. But what she's done, she's better than some of these male rappers, and her numbers show it.
Yeah.
So to be able to pass that baton to two. He tried with a bunch of them.
But he struck gold with these two.
Rawr, Tiger.
But these two, he got it right.
We should have known Tiger was going to be there. That's crazy, brother.
Yeah, man. Wayne up there. Definitely up there. Has just an historic run. And now we're transitioning to our next review with Madison McFerrin's U+I. In this EP, it serves up a musical background to her unique vocal abilities and heightened social consciousness. As the daughter of jazz legend Bobby McFerrin, she has been taking a measured and steady approach to success, and also said about this EP, quote, "As an artist, I believe it's our responsibility to hold up a mirror to society," end quote. What were your thoughts on this EP and just the nature of it? Because, you know, this is one where obviously like the social consciousness is something that she's going to bring, but she also has this very, like I said, like a steady approach and I thought had solid vocal abilities.
Yo, groovy. Tell you that right now. So groovy. Such a vibe. It's such a vibe to where it's like, you know how you say, oh, somebody's in a cloud, she's on the ground, 10 toes down, and it's such a vibe. It's so planted, so grounded is the word I'm really looking for. And I really enjoyed this EP, especially Try. It was such a like airy, like it had that up tempo. It just made you want to move your shoulders and just made you just want to listen to it. Not even move, just let it go. But I thought this was phenomenal. It made me go listen to her other music that she's coming up with an album, and it's like 4 songs on it. And I listened to 2 of them. I'm gonna go back and I want to listen to the whole entire project. And I don't want to skip anything, but I think it's gonna be a good one. But yeah, put me one more. I haven't given you this in a while, but Wellington. With the finder's fee, I'm not with it. Yeah, bro, I'm right with this. Yeah. She's nice. She's dope.
And I mean, like, we EPs are something, like you said. This is something I feel as though, obviously, like she's building on. She's expanding on it. Do you think she kind of has it mapped out? Can you kind of tell, like, because it really feels as though she has it mapped out how she wants to lay out her musical process. She seems a person that's very confident in her identity. Because some EPs were like, is the artist sure of themselves? She kind of seems to be as one of those artists that's like really sure of themselves.
And I think jazz helps with that, and being around jazz.
That lineage.
Because it helps with your that lineage, and help you with that creativity. Because listening to those, like, I know growing up, it probably was annoying sometimes, but to be able to just listen to her dad just play those instruments and be in that realm, because jazz give you so much inspiration, so much creativity, so many angles to use it and then be able to do music. And for her to have that in the household, I know it played a pivotal role with her being so confident and understanding notes, understanding what goes where, because you have to, as a jazz musician, you have to know what goes with what and not be afraid of trying new things. And I think that's what jazz is all about. Even blues is the same way. Being able to try new things, instruments, playing, just vibing. I think that's is a pivotal part of why, like you said, how she's so confident and sure of herself because of jazz. It has to be.
And now getting to our next throwback review with Common's B. In this album from 2005, Common's positive and passionate lyrics plus attitude mixed with the amazing soul production by Kanye West and Jay Dilla gave this album just so much flair. And each song has its own unique style of production and makes each track stand out. But looking back at this album, years later, how do you view it and the significance of what was put together? Because I think Common is a really underrated rapper, one of the legendary rappers we have, and he's just one that's really stood the test of time and I believe can flow on any beat.
Oh, and freestyle on any beat. Man, I've watched so many countless videos of him freestyling, him like making somebody's day in, I think it was New Orleans, and the guy was just freestyling, Common was just bobbing his head, and as soon as he gave him the microphone, over with. So Common is,
man. It sounds too easy for him.
Effortless. It does, and it's the voice, it's the consciousness, just being aware of how to change up, how to switch up the cadence, and the confidence as well. But this album was so nostalgic, especially the track with John Legend and Kanye, bro. It was just they say, man,
that takes you back. That takes you back. That was a time.
Yes. And that's when he used to wear all the Kangos. So it's just bro, Samuel Jackson, light-skinned Samuel Jackson out here rapping.
Man.
Bro, and I knew Kanye just had a book bag on in my and then John Legend, bro. He's dressed the same since he been in the game. Ain't no style has changed. And all the guys being from Chicago is just another like nostalgic factor. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, John Legend is from Chicago.
Chicago as well.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And like this is obviously like the definitive album, because also the album Finding Love from Common I think is another impressive one. Outside of this one, like would you say this is your overall favorite one, or is there another project from Common that you kind of go back to a little more?
Ooh, no, this is definitely Like Water for Chocolate. Like is another one. Because it's just what he talks about, and then the cover art, bro. Like it has the colored only Washcom on it, but he has some bangers on here too. Jill Scott, Mos Def. Like I'm such a fan of Mos Def, and he can freestyle his butt off too. It's just, and then Jill Scott. Oh, I love Jill Scott. Living a life like this. Jill Scott. Yeah, Jill Scott is different, but the amount of Slum Village, he has Slum Village on here. D'Angelo,
Most Def or Common. Most Def or Common between the two.
Don't do that to me.
I'm sorry.
Don't do that to me, bro. Because they match up so well.
It's an interesting comparison.
And both of them act. Shoot, bro.
Yeah.
Mos Def. Because he did it in a group. And he did it solo.
Yeah, the duality of that is just, you got to give him the edge.
Yeah, I got to give it the most.
It's tough. Yeah, it's really tough. But I've always felt as though two guys that mirror each other, I've always felt it's been them. They really are similar in a lot of ways.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, oh my gosh. But yeah, Mos Def. I got to give it to Mos Def.
Definitely.
He's just different.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with our review of Snowfall Season 6. Welcome back to the show. Now we're getting into our review of Snowfall Season 6. And to start with the initial thoughts on the season, and to start the overview, in this final season, it follows Franklin Saint taking on everyone, including his own family, Uncle Jerome, and his former friend in the CI, Teddy McDonald, in order to get the money back that he lost. And this was just like, there were so many different developments and confrontations that happened throughout the season. But what were your kind of initial thoughts on a closing season, that had, so much tension and also a real emotional core? Because we see not, we saw the rise in the first 2 seasons, but then we see the downfall of Franklin Saint's reign.
Way to end the series, bro. Way to end a series so full packed with so many. This was so greatly written,
Yeah.
and to be able to I guess give a tribute to the guy who created it. His name escapes John Singleton,
Yeah.
yes, who has done so many great films, and we got so many nostalgic films from him. But it is so hard for a series to be better than what it was without the original writer and original writing team. So them to be able to finish a season like this, I started watching Snowfall late, and I was like, actually, I started with season 6, which is crazy. Then I went back to season 1, 2, and I've been binging all this stuff. So I wanted to do like I can't forget the other series, but man, just a full circle of things in this series for him, for Franklin, and just so much betrayal, so much being just like the people that got you into the business, family. And they say you can never do business with family or friends or so. And that's really the case here. So, so many, and so many full circles, and becoming who you despise, one of the people you despise the most, which is your father.
Yeah.
Him becoming his father.
That full circle moment is crazy.
It is insane.
Like when them touching on that was so powerful, because it's almost like we see a lot of these characters wrestle with their past. Like, how influential do you think that was of them addressing the topic of like, okay, he eventually becomes what his father was. What he hated is what he goes into. His inner demons is what he eventually gives up.
You can't run away from it too long, because you're going to be like your parents, whether you like it or not. You have a chance to alter some things from who your parents or father or mother, who they are, but you're 50% of both of them. Yeah. So you're going to be like them in some type of way. So it's hard to run from those things. And then the lifestyle you're in, eventually that's going to happen. Either you're going to go to jail, you're going to get killed, or you're going to fall into a state that you cannot escape. But the crazy thing, the irony is, he's free in that.
Yeah.
He said, I don't have no chains on it. And I think Leon, and I'm getting ahead of myself, Leon was like thinking he was talking about jewelry, but he was talking about, I'm free from all of it. But the way you got free, you're still in bondage. Bro, what? That's crazy.
Man, that was wild.
Awesome writing. Awesome writing, bro.
Absolutely awesome writing, man. And another thing with series, because like so many times we don't see, it's tough to close out a series. It's tough to know the right way to just string it all together. Like for you, what's the best part, or what's the toughest part, I should say, of closing out a series when it has so much a big fan base that has been developed over the years? How do you, because some people aren't going to be satisfied, how do you like find the right way, or how do you think to find the right way to really close out a series and give it the best send off?
It's so enticing for like people wanted to expand it because it's so popular. And I love the way they did it. Even I think you could write for another 2 seasons easily. You could have done something, but I love the way they did it, because now we don't want to expand these characters and give them dead air and dead weight. And that we're just writing. You look at The Office.
Yeah.
The season 8, 9, 7 were dreadful. No, season 7 was fine. Season 8, 9, they were dreadful.
Man.
They were doing any and everything. It was so many people who were the managers.
Yeah. They lost its identity.
It lost it, be trying to figure out how to, if they would have ended when Steve Carell left. Oh,
perfect. It would have been perfect.
It would have. But we kind of like killed the last 2 seasons. We don't even think about it. Because for me, I love The Office. I used to binge it all the time, especially when it was on Netflix. Come on. I used to binge it. And when it got to that, I was like,
yeah, I don't want to look at this.
What are we doing here? You should have ended it.
Yeah.
But for Snowfall and the writers and the directors to be able to do that in season 6, I think that's a win.
It's a win.
And now it's still going to be everlasting because how it played out and how it was written to end. So I think you always have the hopes of wanting to end on your own terms, because a lot of seasons got canceled by Fox or whatever. They got canceled by them.
TV stations.
But to be able to end it on your own terms and it be really, really good, I think season 6 was better than all the other seasons. That was crazy, bro. It really got better each season.
Yeah, the progression.
And it capitalized. Yeah, the progression of it, man.
That is so tough. Like, to get to our first topic, from 1 to 4 stars, like, what would be your overall rating? Obviously, you're super high on this, but what would be your overall rating for this season, and some of your reasons?
4 stars. 4 stars for sure. The writing, it's difficult to do this without John Singleton. They showed they were capable of doing it without him, but it's still tributed because I think it was still some DNA of how John Singleton wanted it to end, or I'm pretty sure they talked about it in season 3, season 4. Like, how will we end this? How will we do this? Like, if we could end it right now, I'm pretty sure that was in the writing room. So I'm pretty sure they took ideas that was from John Singleton to end it this way. And I love how it was shot. It was always shot beautiful. Always the action, especially that, man. Yeah, especially like the episode when he was this is not season 6, but just when he had those different personalities, he was talking to himself.
Oh yeah,
that whole scene was so magical. him, her. It was just like how it was shot, how it was like panning. Like, this season was shot perfectly, especially when they were walking. Him and Leon was walking down the street, and him, the close up shot to show that eye.
Man,
it's just like little subtle things you can do as a director and a guy. And then editing was super dope too. Whoever did the editing for these seasons did a really good job. So 4 stars for the acting, the character development, how they ended it, the full circle moments. Yeah, 4 stars for sure, bro.
Absolutely.
4 stars.
Yeah, I would definitely go for it as well. Like, the progression of every season, like you said, is something that it's so rare to find in shows, because sometimes the overall product declines and it doesn't get better, but they find it a way to just have everybody have that essential character development, and string it together and the ending in a way that is just so emotionally relevant, and really is a real life scenario, and something that we all have to deal with, facing inner demons and trying to wrestle with whether we want to be like our parents, when, like you said, at the end of the day, you're eventually going to be like them. Maybe not completely identical, but in some way you're going to be like them. And I thought that was really powerful. Getting to best character development overall in this season, Leon was really fascinating to me, because he went from being just a hothead in season 1 to just questioning the way Franklin handled a lot of situations at the end of season 5. And I think just seeing that change in him was something like he found out what he wanted, and he just didn't want to live that life anymore. By your look, you look a little upset. What will be your pick?
Leon. I think out of all the characters, even Unc, even excuse me, Franklin, like, Leon's character development, at first he was thinking like a soldier, and then he was thinking like a boss, like a guy who wants and should be in charge, and thinking with his own mind, like, and then still staying true to being a friend. So his character development was crazy, man, because his character was very crazy. And then, I mean, obviously second was Franklin, those full circle moments, and his character being okay with being in the state that he's in, because it's better to be in that state than being in that realm where families, like, you have to fight for your life every single day. Even your mom is turning on you and doing stuff, and it just, I thought that was just really crazy. But Leon's character development from season 1 to season 6, by far the best, and how it ended, he stayed true. And for Franklin to say, "You're my best friend, and I'm proud of you," full circle moment, because I'm sure that Leon felt like he was like, "Man, I want to do my own thing, but I do want to protect you and look out for you, but I got to do my own thing." There's no bad blood against us. So now it's a full circle moment. Like, bro, you still my best friend. I'm proud of you. So I thought that was really dope. His character development was crazy.
Definitely. And another dynamic though that was interesting was Franklin and his mom, because like that was, they had went through so much from the jump, and then how things just ended in a really heartbreaking fashion. Like, what did you think about that? Because I feel as though it's one of those things where she saw what was happening to him, like what this was doing to him, like the changes in him and how he was just headed down a destructive path. Like, what did you think about that dynamic, and how it was really one of the most influential just dynamics overall between a mother and her son, and just like that trust that was at the beginning and how it just dissolved into eventual hate?
I think from the mother standpoint and Sissy's standpoint, if you try to look out for the best interest of your child, but in this instance, move out the way. Let my man do what he got to do. But I do think she tried to do the right thing, and she didn't want him in that life, and she knew what road he was going down and who he was going to end up like. Because your uncle's already dead. Your auntie, whatever, like you're going down this road. So I understood where she was coming from, but at the end of the day, hey, Franklin tried to get out the game with this money, and you just messed it up. But that jail scene,
oh my god, just let him get
my gosh, oh my god, and you had to kill the guy. Like, and then I think it was some real estate stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Like I ran through the episodes really fast, but I think it was like a real estate deal that him and Leon and Sissy was trying to do, is something fell through because Leon wouldn't give him the money, and then he tried to kill Leon. I don't know. He was trying to get it by force with Leon. It was a bunch of stuff. But man, Sissy, and then she went out. She'll never get out of jail. She'll be in there for the rest of her life.
That was one of the her killing Teddy, man. That was the everybody was just like, can you just let him say the
why? Now you want to be a mama.
Now you want to man.
That's crazy, bro.
And now getting into most memorable scenes, I had Franklin trying to kill Big D. Also, Sissy laying down the law with Franklin. Franklin burns Todd's face. Also, Franklin killing Teddy's father. Kane and Franklin getting shot by Jerome. Franklin and Jerome breaking family ties. Kane killing Jerome. Then finally, Franklin leading a poor life forever. And his last conversation with Leon. What were the memorable like scenes for you in this season overall, or maybe just one stand out?
There were really three, and I think you said a couple of them. One, we was talking to Unc Jerome in the diner or whatever it was. And they were talking, and he slapped them 3 times. And then he pulled the gun out on. I think that was season 6. It was definitely season 6. And that moment, I think Uncle Jerome really saw him still as a kid, because he could have did worse. Just slapping him. He was talking about this, whatever. I think he still saw him. I think he still wanted to help him, because at the end, Jerome wanted to get out. He was done with this. He wanted to get away. But he stayed for Louis, obviously. But I think that scene was really, really dope, to be able to, like, it's still love there, but it still has to be respect there. And then they try to kill each other afterwards. But anyways, the scene when he was in the jail talking to his mom and he went crazy, I think that was a full circle moment. Like, you weren't a great mom, and then in spite, I still helped you.
Yeah.
But when your time you were supposed to not do anything, you did something trying to be a good mom or whatever, and you messed up, and you still won't do it. She was like, you don't want to talk? He was like, you don't want to talk to me? You want to talk to me? No, I did. And he called her B. I knew it was over after he called her mama B. It was over with. It was over with.
That combo was over.
Over with. And then the third one is obviously that scene with him and Leon, Franklin and Leon, when he was, drunk. And it was that split moment when he took a sip of the alcohol or whatever beer he was drinking, and he was just, you could see him look into the distance. In that split second, he was back to regular Franklin.
Yes.
And then he quickly snatched him back out. He was like, I'm good. Kept drinking. It's those, bro. It's those subtle things.
You saw a split second of the old Franklin. You really did.
Yes, he was like, bro, what am I doing? Life, and then he got back out of it. It's like that's character development.
Yeah.
Without even saying anything, if people really paid attention to that moment, the real Franklin was right there, and I think Leon saw it. But just that moment, just a full circle, him feeling like he's free. But bro, you're really not free. You free from that life there, but you got a whole nother journey you about to be on.
Yeah.
Because now you're a wino, you're drunk. And you got, I don't know, I forgot what happened to his eye, why he got that red blood vessel, bust of blood vessel in his eye. But yeah, those was the three, I think, out of all the episodes in that season, those really stood out the most to me.
Yeah, definitely. Now transitioning to memorable quotes, I had my money, it's all gone. Also, you might have to find another way to connect all the dots, but I can help you do that. I'm the only hope you have to save Franklin. Franklin is family, but I like to think that what you're doing is just business. I got your back, but I would not go to war against my own blood. And also, we could have built it all back up. To you, like, what are your memorable quotes in this season, and just the ones that you felt as though resonated the most?
That one, it was a bunch of good quotes, and like I have no chains.
Yeah,
I'm free. That was a good one, but we could have built it back up.
That says it all.
That says it all. He was still like, everything was Gucci until Louis wants to be. Leon was cool. Leon leaving, that cool. Was good. Yeah. That was cool. But when Louis wanted to do and be whatever, that messed it up. That really messed it up. And then you take the plug. Like, it was just, that was a lot. That was a lot. Yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, that was a lot, bro. But
that was the change.
Built it back up.
That was the change.
Yeah. Yeah. And even after Westcom died, and another good quote. After he died, Uncle Jerome, it was at the funeral, and they were talking about so you came back because you love me or something like that, and he was like, yeah, but I need you. She was like, you really are the devil. He was like, and then I was like, yo, but he understands the game.
Yeah, he gets the game.
I need y'all. You're a pawn. I'm trying to get to my money, and at the end of it all, he's still getting to money. But yeah, man, what a season, bro.
What a season.
What a season.
Absolutely. And also, like, getting to, like, what did you like the most about this storyline? The full circle moments is what keeps standing out to me, because, like, we see Franklin getting back to what he knows is right, but also knows he can't go back fully. Leon realizing the situation Franklin is in and that he can't enable him, but he still has to be for him as a friend at the end, which I thought was really powerful, because he could have never visited him again, but he knew, like, that was still his friend. That was still somebody that he had years of trust with, and so in so many moments together. Like, to you, like, what particular element of this storyline did you like the most?
What an excellent point, bro. Just to add to that, I think it was not Leon, but Franklin doing the same thing that Teddy has done to him and his own people, the tactics that he's willing to do. Yeah. And that was a full circle moment too. Him just becoming something that he was never that guy. He was never that guy. And he became something because that game and those aspects of the games, you have to change, you have to adapt, you have to become somebody you weren't supposed to be. But him doing the same thing that Teddy did, which was, like, really crazy to me. I'm like, bro, like, this is the same stuff that Teddy was doing, trying to, like, muscle everybody, get in everybody's deals, getting mad because he wanted to go to the real estate thing with you. It was just like characters aligning with each other with similarities that at first didn't start that way, because that's great character development. Because he sought out not to be like Teddy, but to use Teddy. But Teddy was using him.
Those two, like, they were always on a collision course, and they just didn't know it. They were always on a collision course to the eventual end, and everything. They always thought they were thinking ahead of each other, but they really were thinking the same thing, and they just didn't know it. Like, that was the crazy part about the Franklin and Teddy dynamic, because they were just using each other,
Yes.
for the entire show.
Who? Okay, when I think who was the guy that Franklin burnt? Who had him in the Westcom? The white guy, was that Teddy? He had him like, who was that? He was like, I gave you, you got everything you got because of me. If I wanted to take everything away, I did. Like, I forgot the name of the guy. It was a white guy in the chair, beat up, and then he was like, now we getting somewhere. That's what Franklin said. I can't remember who the guy was, and I want to say that was somebody from Teddy.
I think it might have been. I think it might have been because I know he also because there was another scene where he burnt a character named Todd, but I don't know if that was I don't know if that was the same person.
I don't know either. Yeah. But man, it was just like, the storyline was incredible.
Really
for
was.
This. And then his girl that he thought who really loved him, cleaned him out, took the money.
Oh, yeah, her mom told her. Her mom told her that she did it.
That's crazy, bro. Everybody took from you, and you took from them too. Mm-hmm. Full circle moments. A lot of full circle moments in this, man.
Definitely. Was before we get to our last topic, was there another character that we haven't mentioned that you feel, even Oso is another character? He's another one where I think he gets back to his family, but at the same time he had to escape. He had to like live on the run. Louis the same. Like you look at Oso and Louis, like they both had to be on the run. Like they kind of had to like live different lives just to get away from their eventual end. Like, are there any other characters that kind of stand out to you in the series?
No, not really. I mean, it's a bunch. Just naming all of them. That's like 6 or 7 characters in this series that really, like, your attention was mostly on them. Mm-hmm. I think I was her name was Veronica, the girlfriend, or Veronica, whatever her name was. But the one person I thought they should have got what they got to deserve was Louis.
Oh yeah, Louis.
I think Louis.
You asked for that.
But that's excellent writing because he came back to save his wife, his lady. So it was just, that was perfect writing, because if she would have died and Unc would have stayed alive, I don't know, actually, what kind of person would he would have changed into?
His development would have been really interesting.
But he just liked the simple life. He was so simplistic. He hated this life. He said it 1,000 times. Like, bro, he didn't want this life, but he did it for family. He did it for his nephew. He did it for Louis. He did things he wasn't proud of. Blood money. What I'm gonna do with this blood money? This blood money.
You got the Uncle Jerome impersonation down. Man,
teach a man how to squabble. I'm sorry.
So there's always one Uncle Jerome in every family.
Yes, bro. Just like the party, have fun.
Yeah.
Just life for the party, man. That's what he was simple. That's what he wanted to get back to.
Yeah.
But I think he would have, I don't know what fate he would have if Louis would have died and he would have stayed alive. But I think that was excellent writing for them, Unc, to kill, because he wanted to get out, and that was his only way to get out, was to save. Well, technically not get out, but he died. I don't know.
Try to get out, but it just didn't work.
You got out all right.
And to close it out for our last topic, like how do you think this series, because series are always going to age in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Like, in the pandemic, a bunch of people just revisited series that they had never seen before. And it's gonna continue to happen. People revisiting series that they've heard about. How do you think this series will age a decade from now, and how people will, view it?
I think people will view this season and these episodes, like, I think this goes into the vault, not just Black cinema, but just overall. Like, this is how you're supposed to end a series. This is how you're supposed to do character development, because I know this Snowfall, then you got BMF, you got all these other seasons and these other series and shows. But I think when it comes to Snowfall, we've seen the progression that every character has done, the show have done, the editing, the shooting. I think this stacks up against any other show that was very popular, whether it was the 90s, the 2000s. Like, I think this stacks up against all of them because to be able to do it in 6 seasons,
that's tough.
Some shows do it in 9, some do it in 8, some get canceled before they even can get an ending. So for them to be able to end it the way they want to end it, because like we said, they could have easily got to like season 8, season 9 if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But to keep the quality of this series and quality of this season,
and no one
they did it in 6. That's clout, bro. That's something you brag about. We did it in 6 seasons, and every season got better. Character, and we did it without our fearless leader, John Singleton.
Yeah.
So, bro,
and that's another thing. To close it out, his vision was the main thing for this show. It was the one driving force. Like, how much of like motivation do you think it was for the creators and directors after his passing to really like finish this series off on a high note to honor his legacy and what he created?
Man, I knew probably every day on set was difficult, and every day in the writing room was difficult because John Singleton is an excellent presence. Like, I've read interviews and I've read like articles, and I looked at interviews of him just being John Singleton, like a great guy. Like, he was always charismatic. He was spontaneous. Like, I remember Ice Cube saying like when it was performing in Boys in the Hood, there was real gunshots. He didn't tell him. Like, it was real gunshots out in the West Coast. He did not tell him nothing. And he was like, bro, all those reaction was real. So it's just like he brings that true nature to either cinema, to showing series. Like, to be able to do that for him, I think it was an excellent tribute to him. And to be able to do it without him, it's no small feat. Because John Singleton, his catalog is crazy. Not just for a Black director or writer, but for a director and writer in itself. And I feel like that was a plug. And I feel like that while reading a teleprompter.
So, Savon, this is what you're going to say?
Bro, did that not feel like I was reading off the teleprompter?
It kind of did.
Oh my gosh. I lost myself. I didn't know I was out of body experience. But that's totally true. Totally true. I know I did that at the end.
We just can't prepare for that time, when Full Scope has a bunch of ads and we got to start reading. This is preparation for that.
So funny, bro.
But yeah, the closeout for this show, this season, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful way to end it out, and to end it out with the Kendrick Lamar song "Pride," which I thought was a great way to end it. I mean, that was just a full circle moment, and I think this is an excellent way to cap it off. That wraps it up for tonight. I'm your host, Winter Burns, my counterpart Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.